How's your quarantine been going?
It's been good. I mean, at first I think I had a meltdown, because I had come back from, I was in the middle of shooting a movie, and then next thing I know, I like walked to the set and it was like, we got to shut down. And then in the next 5 hours, I had to organize a plane. And then next thing, I remember, like, it was like May 16th and March 16th. And what's crazy is, like, the week before, Lala was calling me being like, babe, everything's shutting down. LA had like already started. And I was like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. We're out here and we're on the beach and everything's normal. And I was like, everybody's blowing this out of proportion.
Right.
And then May 15th, Puerto Rico was like curfew, shutdown, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, this is creepy and weird. And Lala was like, no, you're just behind. Mm-hmm. And so on May 16th, I got on the plane, had to get everybody out of there. And Megan Fox and me and Emile Hirsch, all these actors, we flying home, and we're just like, what just happened? We're making a movie 12 hours ago, and now we're going home. And I remember landing in LA, and it was like, it really took a minute for me to process, because I wasn't really ready. I was living in a bubble making a film. And I think for the first week, it was depressing and upsetting, and you're scared, and you're trying to protect your kids and get as much information. And then, then I just changed the attitude. And I was like, listen, no one's telling us this is going to end anytime soon. So we better just make the best of this. Right. And you just go into like survival, you want to be optimistic for your kids and your family. Mm-hmm. So then it just, then it became like, we'll work from home and we'll keep connecting with people. And I try to just entertain the kids, and you had to get used to the schooling, at home and all that stuff. But I don't know, we swam a lot. Okay. We played a lot of pickleball. Yeah. I think I've become a professional. And, I think that's it. I mean, I think, as time went on, I got okay with it. Wasn't my ideal situation. And it wasn't anybody's ideal situation, but you just had to learn to just, deal with it. And
totally. Yeah, you have to. Do you and Lala still want to get married after all this?
Yes. We never, ever said, I read articles. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, babe, it says that we don't want to get married. No, we never, listen, everybody goes through in quarantine these moments that get stressful. I don't care who you are. My mom and dad have been married for over 50 years. They're 75 years old. My mom's like, your dad, he hasn't left the dining room table. And I'm like, all right, I don't need to hear it. I got my own. Right. No, listen, I'm very proud of, we were just saying it a few hours ago. We're both very proud of each other. We love each other, and we made it through a time that I don't think any couple who's busy and working all the time, when I say that, I mean, like, you could be a stay-at-home mom raising kids, and you're busy packing lunches and driving them to this, driving to that, and or the mom is out earning and the dad is a stay-at-home dad, whatever the version of your family is. And I think when your life comes to a screeching halt, at some point, quarantine gets to you. And I think, we hit a moment, but we never, ever, we're ever not getting married.
Sure, of course.
And I will tell you that we are more ready to get married now than we ever were. It's like, all right, we got robbed of our wedding on April 18th. I was on set when she called me, and it was hard. I wasn't even able to talk about it until about a month ago. But there was this moment, she called me, and I was about to go on set, and she's like, babe, we need to talk about the wedding for a second. And I was like, I'm about to go on set. And she's like, what, we have to push the date. And I was like, I know. And I had already had the conversations, and she said, are you okay with that? And I was like, burst into tears like a little baby. It was heartbreaking. And then I couldn't get it together to go back to work. And she's like, listen to me, pull it together, get back to work. We're going to be together for the rest of our lives. It's not the end of the world. I'm okay. You're okay. We're going to do this. And it was just one of these moments where you're like, I got the best partner in the world. And, she just, the crew kept coming around me. Like, I was like, no. But I just got off with our wedding planner, literally 40 minutes ago, and just was talking about, the new dates. And, we're talking about, Lala and I both are like adamant right now about late August, early September.
Okay.
We haven't told anybody. Well, now we told you. But we haven't told anybody. But we feel like, look, we're listening to California's guidelines. We're kind of hostages to what's safe in both Orange County and in the state of California. We're optimistic, and we kind of have decided that whatever those guidelines are at that point, we will respect and abide by. And if it means we have to have a smaller wedding, then we're going to have a smaller wedding. At this point, we just want to get married and do our thing.
No, definitely. I know that she said that she was okay with waiting till next year, but you really wanted to put that ring on it this year, right?
No, I mean, walking me into it. I like it. No, listen, let me think about that. I am fine with waiting to 2021. I think at this point, listen, quarantine, puts us like, in a weird, place sometimes. But, we both, like, we're here in Arizona right now. We both have been talking, and we're like, now we're both in the same page. Like, she is like, her mom even said, well, maybe October. And Lala said, Mom, we are getting married in late August, early September. It is our decision. Like, we're both put our foots down. Like, I call our foot down. I call my mom. Like, Mom, you have no say. You will be there. If I have to personally drive you cross country in a car after I've been tested, you will come. And so I think we've accepted that whatever the version of our wedding day is going to be, due to safety protocols, just like in the movie business that I'm dealing with right now and going back to work, it's going to be a different world. It's not going to be kind of what we thought it was going to be, in the sense of like a 300-person packed in a ballroom. Like, we've already discussed moving it outdoors to anticipate what the guidelines are going to be like. And we'll just, it's about, becoming one. It's not about, all the other stuff. And I think that I think we both were throwing around different things. I was like November, she was like January, and then we're both like September. And now we both are like, for sure, we are getting married, end of August, early September, as long as the state of California and the city of Orange County, allow us to. If they tell us we can only have 10 people, then probably we'll have to push again.
So as long as you guys are just, like you said, it's all about you celebrating your love and being together. So that's what's
important. And at the end of the day, like, she always laughs. She like even joked, yesterday was like, we're married. Like, we've been together a long time. And it's like, but we want to have that formal moment that, makes us become one. So I know. But I'm the girl in the relationship. I mean, I hate to admit it. I'm glad she's not here right now, because she's like, oh, you're the, But I'm more of the bride in pushing the wedding, just because, I wanted this kind of big, fun wedding. So
no, totally. And I know that Lala also said that, you had to push kind of baby plans a little bit as well. That, is that something that you're going to wait a little bit more on, or, kind of fast track that as well?
Lala has other plans on that. I don't know if I should be saying this. She might be bad. But Lala is ready. That's all I'm going to say. She is, the thing is that she had a plan, and I think COVID definitely changed how we look at life. And I think for a lot of people, at least my friends who I talk to, it's like, we were so like regimented. It was like, okay, I'm going to take my idea. We're going to get married. And then, we'll have babies and we'll go on our honeymoon, blah, 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 blah. But COVID hit. It was like, no, your plan's not happening that way. And I think that, because our wedding is contingent on a lot of factors, safety obviously first, I think that the baby plans, I'm sure I'm going to get killed for this. The baby plans are, she's moved those up a little bit. So.
Yeah, moved those up a little.
Yeah, so all I can say is we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Yes.
Maybe a baby bump at the wedding, maybe.
Yeah, she's not pregnant, but we're definitely we're open-minded to whenever that day comes.
Good. Well, I know that she said that she wanted two, you wanted one, so that means you're having two. So.
Yeah, I have no say. I've given up on all this. It's like somebody that my parents been married 50 years, and another friend of mine has been married 65 years. And I said, I just don't understand how, just give me the key. What's the one little trick? What's the, because I have such a strong personality. She's got such a strong personality. Yeah. And he's like, it's simple. He goes, I promise you, if you listen to me, this will solve it all. And I said, anything, just give me a little niblet. And he's like, she's just always got to be right. And I said, what? And now I'm realizing, yeah, if I want to have a happy life, she's just always going to be right. I know when to pick my battle, but it can't be daily and it can't be weekly. So once a month, I'll take out the sword and I'll fight the fight. And now, we've been better than we ever have. It's like the healthiest, but it's healthy because like our communication through COVID has really gone to another level because you have to, you just have to talk, be open about everything.
Right. Is that why she went to Utah? Did she pack her bags and went is that when you tried to fight the fight?
Dude, she was so lighthearted about that in her thing, it's like, I read that article and I'm like, what? We broke up? She's like, no, well, her mom and, everybody had been in the house for 6 weeks at that point, and she had wanted to go to Utah. She loves this condo. And yeah, you know what? Sometimes couples, need a few days, but we never, like, we joke about that. I was like, we broke up. She's like, we didn't break up. It was never ending. So I don't know. I don't read the articles anymore because like people will call me and be like, you guys broke up. I'm like, wait, we're talking about having babies. We broke up. Yeah. So, but I think it's good sometimes. I took an RV with my kids for a couple days to get on the road and have time. And she's like, go, get out of the house, go do your thing.
Okay, I'll pack your bags.
Yeah, she's very, she's always been great. So like, but I think that it's, you have to, a healthy relationship is part of, going through things where sometimes you need a few days just to get out of the house. And COVID hasn't allowed us to have any outlet, because you have to be safe, and you had to, at that time, be so quarantined and so locked down. So anyway, but now we're in baby talk. So there you go.
Making a wedding planning. And I know that she has, I've spoken to Lala a few times, and she's also, expressed wanting to be a mom, but she also has such a great relationship with your kids as well. And she, raves about them. And I mean, that's got to be so great to see what kind of mom she is to your kids as well.
She is, I said it the other day, almost like with tears in my eyes. I did say to her, I said, I'm so blessed because, when you have a mixed family and, a lot of mixed families, friends of mine that I know struggle big time with, maybe the stepdad or the stepmom or whatever it may be, the divorce in general or anything. But, we're very blessed. My kids love Lala. She loves them, is like her own. And it's just, I'm so lucky. I take it for granted some days because I'm like, I'll be at the office now working and I'll say, oh, I got to get home. And she's like, babe, me and the girls are going swimming, and after we're cooking hot dogs, so just take your time. And I'm like, it's like I just got lucky. I got very lucky. And, obviously, Lala, being a stepmom, I always tell her it is as hard as it gets. It is not easy. And she, at her age, just stepped up and has really, really been there for me as a partner, but also as a stepmom. And I'm very, it's a one subject I'm just very, very blessed that the girls just love her the way they do. And she loves them the way they do. And they have this bond. And honestly, I get a little frustrated at times because, I want cuddling time with the kids. And when Lala's around, it's all cuddle with Lala. I tell my 6-year-old, I'm like, Riley, enough already. Come over here. She's like, I'm cuddling with Lala. You could lay right next to me and I'll hold your hand. I'm like, this is a bunch of bullshit. So I've gotten robbed a little bit, but as long as they're smiling, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But yes.
Is co-parenting hard during this time? I would imagine because, you can't see your kids as much or, kind of going back and forth. It's got to be a lot because you're in quarantine, right? Or were you guys?
Yeah, we're in quarantine. We're in quarantine, and the kids go back and forth to the household. Yeah, I go to the office daily, but I'm tested for COVID every week. And in the office we're social distance. And when they go to their mom's, house, it's the same group of people. on her side. It's the same group of people on our side. So yeah, I mean, we have a schedule that we follow. We're 50-50.
Sure.
But it hasn't really been the hardest part in quarantine for me with the kids is the fact they don't get to go to school.
Yeah.
The fact they can't see their friends. The fact that they can't, we can't go to the mall and get an ice cream cone.
Mm-hmm.
The basic things, And look, we're blessed. And I always say, I don't want to complain because people have it very hard in the world.
Mm-hmm.
People live in a studio apartment and they can't, go out. But I am lucky that we do have a pool and we do have a backyard. So I am grateful for those things. But, you swim 100 times. The kids are not dumb. They're like, why can't we go see our friend?
Friends, yeah.
Why can't we go to school and go to PE with other kids? So you really have to kind of make sure. It's really weird. I really don't care about my own feelings during this time. I care more that the kids are okay mentally.
Sure.
And I spend a lot of time just saying to my older one, how are you feeling? You're frustrated. You can't see your friend. It's okay. It's okay to feel this way. I think Lala has been really creative with them and doing a lot of different activities at the house that are, we just try to be creative. But that's the biggest change. It's not even really the going back and forth. It's more just trying to keep them entertained.
Sure, yeah, you got to get creative.
Full-time job.
It really is. It really is. So Vanderpump just wrapped up. Did you ever think you and James would be buddy-buddy?
Never. No. Never. First of all, let's back it up even further. Did I ever think I would be on the show? Never. So, the producers were very kind and they met with me and they, I understood out of respect to Lala that is her world and it is her life. And it was getting awkward, her not showing that side. So once we got over that hurdle, I think I would have bet you everything in the world that I never would have been on the show. So if making up with James probably would have been in the same category, but I'll tell you something. James has the biggest heart, and him and Lala have this connection. They've continued to work together. And at the beginning of the season, when they were on the outs again, because he had said things obviously that weren't kind about me. I had said to her, I know you like James. I know James is kind to you. You two have this relationship. Why don't you reach out to him? Why don't you guys try to move forward? And if it gets in a good place and he is on the right track and you think he is, then obviously I'm always forgiving. I'm not somebody that holds grudges.
Mm-hmm.
I'm older. I've been around, long enough to know that holding a grudge is only going to eat you alive.
Sure.
So I never really held a grudge. I just didn't make any time for him. And then as the season went on, I know he got sober and his attitude was different. I had seen him around and he always was kind of kind, would say, hey, Randall, how are you? And it's very brief, but I still had my guard up. And then I show up the last day season finale to kind of celebrate. And the producers are very smart, of course. They didn't tell me this. And I show up and I'm walking around. They're like, we need you right now. James wants to apologize. I was like, what? So I was like, okay. And I walk over and you could see it was very heartfelt and he had really thought about it. And I just was moved by it. And I just was, Lala I watched her in her sobriety and I was very moved. And of course I was, I never thought this day would happen, but I was very moved by it. And I was very appreciative of just the effort that he had made. And I said, I look forward to trying to have a thing. And since then he's been on our podcast and he always reaches out to say hello. And it's just a different person. It's like the person I never knew. So
that's awesome.
It's very, very unique, but I never thought it would happen, but I'm very, very grateful.
Yeah.
It has. And God bless that he's come so far.
Was this overall a really good experience for you? Are you going to be back next season?
Oh God. It was an experience that I'm not comfortable doing because I like to be behind the scenes. Yeah. So the first month I was petrified and Lala, I almost felt like I was watching the show. I'd be there and I'm watching them talk or Brittany, Jackson, Lala talking. I'm like, oh my God, they're filming Me Too shit. It was like surreal. Like I watched it on TV, and so I just couldn't get comfortable. But when it was Lala and I alone, like that made me get more comfortable. And as time went on, I actually had a really fun time. Like it turned into, by the end of the summer, I was like, it was fun. And the producers were so nice. And the cast I knew really well. So it wasn't like anything different than like if we went on a trip or we went to dinner. So I don't think I would have done it if I didn't know them like I really do know them. So it's kind of like hanging out with your friends and, you know, with cameras around, I guess.
Right.
But the plus was that I got to see my fiance a lot, which I never, like during the filming, I like hiding and like run for the hills. So I really enjoyed it. At the end, I felt comfortable. They made me feel comfortable. People were very nice. In terms of coming back, you know, if they ask me to do this again, well, I'm sure you want to support your partner. And my fiance supports all the films that I go off and do and make. And when I have to leave or I say, babe, oh my God, I got to fly out. Can you come? And she's like, yes. And then we go and, you know, and she's very supportive. So I feel like it's my obligation, you know, to support her career. And, you know, look, for many years I didn't, you know, appear. And so, yeah, it was fun, and I'll do it again if they want me to appear.
Do you pay attention to any of the drama, or you just kind of focus in on you and Lala when you're on the show?
Yeah, I try to stay away from it. Yeah. I mean, when your fiance is the star of the show, it's very hard to not know it's happening. I don't know all the ins and outs because, like, you know, her and Katie or her and Stott, you know, they talk and they go hang out and they do all that stuff together. I'm on the fringe, but the bigger stuff that happens, I'll hear about. But I always tell them, please leave me out of. Right. I don't know how to spill the tea, drop the bomb, whatever.
You're like, just leave me out of it.
I'm like a dinosaur. You know, I move slow. So I'm fast in what I do, but it's slow in what they do. So
definitely. Yeah. Well, let's talk about this movie. I know, like you said, you were kind of in the middle of filming. Everything kind of shut down. So, I mean, obviously you don't know when you're going to be back, but how far along were you? And, you know, what was it like on set?
Well, on set, being a director from being a producer is very different. Yeah, I felt like creatively I was really frustrated as a producer. Like I felt like I produced 110 movies, and you know, certain experiences like with Martin Scorsese were life-changing, but other films became more of a business deal for me, you know, and I kind of missed that like inner creative part of me. And so directing was like, I was petrified going in, and I got there and I just said to my team, I said, either I'm going to hate this and I'm never going to do it again, and I'll just be a producer, or I'm just going to thrive and it's going to be like creatively reignite who I am as an artist. Sure. And because I went to art school as a kid, I went to Performing Arts High School, I went to art school in college. So that's my roots. And I'm kind of a cinephile in that respect, like a real artist deep down. But as a producer, you have to put your business hat on a lot, you know? And so I got to day one of pre-production and I just fell in love. Like I was like, this is it. Yeah, I just, for the first time, it's funny, I didn't know COVID was coming, was going to stop us and shut the world down and let it have to, but my life moved so fast up until that moment in directing that finally I got to live in the moment. Every second of every day was like creative. I was dealing with the props and this and the casting. And by the time I got on set, I was like so connected to the creative process. I just loved it. And by day 5, when was our last day of shooting, I felt like I had got into my routine, and I was so ready for that Monday. And then we got shut down. And that was heartbreaking because that, like, I remember going to the production meeting with the crew on the set, and all the trailers and, you know, all the crew were there. And my partner in Puerto Rico spoke to the crew, and basically we were going to take a vote, which we had said we're going to have to shut down. That was kind of where it was going. And he said, you know, he looked over at me and said, I'd like our director to speak. Now, I could speak to a movie set all day because I'm comfortable. Sure. And he looked over and the tears were like flowing, and I
Yeah.
couldn't say a word. I was so heartbroken for them. I had such a bond. I really understood now what the bond with the crew meant.
Yeah.
Bond with your cast, bond with all the producers, and so it was magical, and I'm so excited to continue. We're gonna, we're very close right now to going back. We're gonna go.
Right.
I think we're going. Yeah, I think we're gonna go back in June. It looks like we'll be one of the first movies back, and I'm really excited. We've worked very hard with all the unions over the last 2 weeks to prepare and the protocols that are put in place. But it will be a very different world. It'll be like being on Mars. Going back and shooting.
Yeah.
Because of safety. So, but I am excited, and I plan on directing, many more films.
Oh,
so.
I'm sure this is the first of many.
Yes.
What was the dynamic like between the cast? Because I mean, you really have like a dream all-star cast with this movie.
It was great. I mean, I had Emile Hirsch, who was first on, who I'd done a lot of movies with, and then Megan Fox, who was my first choice, and I was lucky that she took a leap of faith with a first-time director, which usually doesn't happen. But I think Emile Hirsch maybe lent credibility to, my vision, and then we got Lucas Haas and and Bruce Willis, of course, who I did a lot of movies with, and then obviously Machine Gun Kelly, and it just But look, the dynamic was, when I went to the set every day with each actor, they were so immersed. I was so shocked because I think as a producer, I just kind of like, I know the director's handling that part of it. Yeah. And now it's kind of me handling it. And it's like, they knew their characters, and they did read-throughs with me, and it was magical. Every part of it was magical.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, did you see MGK's latest music video with Megan?
I did.
What did you think?
And I thought it was great. I thought it was great. I mean, I know there's a lot of stories out in the world. I don't, know any of that stuff. And I know that they're friends, and they were friends on the movie. Mm-hmm. And I know them to have a professional relationship. And, that's what I know. But I do think the video was awesome. I mean, look, they MGK and I have become friends, and he's the most fun, most creative guy. And I'll just tell one story. When he came, the first day I met him on the set, he came in, he was so excited, and he's like, we got to wardrobe, and he's like, I don't like any of this stuff. These sweatpants, this is not, I want to be inspired like by True Romance. I was like, I love this guy. Like he didn't show up like for a paycheck. He showed up because he loves acting.
Yeah. And
he gave me his vision of the character, and we collaborated. And by the end of that hour, I scrapped the whole wardrobe. And the next day we had a whole new wardrobe. And he showed up the next day, and he's like, he's just such a creative person. So like him putting out a video and like, networking through, a movie that he just did is, to me, inspiring. Like, that's just who he is. He's a creative person. The video was, I thought awesome and fun. And I love the song. And I called him. He called me about 4 days before the video dropped. And he goes, yo, I'm dropping this sick video. It's going to be awesome. And he's like, Megan's in it. And I was like, Megan who? And he's like, Megan Fox, your star. And I'm like, oh. And I was like, he's like, you're going to love it. So the video dropped, and I called her, and I was like, it's so awesome. And I love the song so much. I said, can you give, we're an independent movie. Yeah. I said, can you give us the song for the movie? He's like, 100%. I was like, awesome. Okay, this is the win. So no, it's a lot of fun. I know there's a million stories out there, but to me, they're friends, and they're both my friends. And I'm really honored to have both of them in the movie, and their scenes are insane and just phenomenal, and people are just going to really love the part, the acting that they do. Because MGK, I'm educated over the last few months before we started about his ability. Megan Fox we know as a movie star, but MGK clearly is an incredibly talented actor if you look at his work. Right. And what he does in our movie is spectacular.
I mean, what are their characters' dynamic in the movie? Are they love interest in the movie? Are they friends?
No.
No. Okay.
No. He plays a drug dealing pimp, and she plays an undercover FBI agent who's basically going undercover to find out where the disappearance of a bunch of a serial killer that's been taking women and killing them.
Sounds
So
good.
yeah, so she sets him up, and he thinks, she's, works a truck stop, and then has to figure out, he gets a rude awakening when, he finds out who she really is.
Definitely. And I know they're just friends and everything like that, but did you notice that their friendship kind of developed on set? Did you notice that they became fast friends and had a lot of common interests?
No, I mean, because when you're working on a movie set, I mean, we're shooting 14-hour days. So it's like everybody's friendly, like Emile Hirsch and her are friendly, her and Lucas Haas are friendly, MGK and Emile Hirsch. Like that cast is 5 of us. And, it's like everybody's, kind of friendly, but nobody has any time to, it's more like in between takes, we're all sitting around talking about, our kids, everybody's got kids. So everybody's talking about their kids, or everybody's talking about what their next project, we all thought we had next projects,
Sure, yeah.
And, so it was very like, it's just kind of always professional and always focused on making a good film, not on anything else short of that. But I mean, I feel like even though I had small talk with a lot of actors during the process, I'm friends with all of them because we have a bond through the creative process, so.
I mean, what surprised you the most about working with Megan for the first time?
Wow. Just, she comes in such a professional manner. Like it was just, and when I say that, all actors are professional, but it was like, she just knew her character. So when I showed up, I had a bunch of wardrobe set out, and they wanted me to come meet with her for the first time. And I had picked a lot of the different, like the FBI outfit and the props and the gun and the different badges. And I said, listen, I let wardrobe know if she's uncomfortable with certain pieces of wardrobe that we picked. We had like 4 backups. And, I thought, maybe she'd want to discuss further. And I show up and I meet her for the first time, and she's like, I love all these choices. I think these are all, it was just all within her character. I don't think anything surprised me. I think what was great about working with Megan was how professional, how on time, how it's all about the character, the script. And she wants to achieve what's best for her character, and wants her director to give her that. And that's really nice coming from an actress who's so successful, who's been in some of the biggest franchises of all time. She could come on set and be like, I know what I want. And, and it's the opposite. Yeah, she's like, you tell me what you need, and if I'm not giving it to you in that scene, come over to me. And she just, and she's respectful to everybody on set, and was very kind to the process, and made me as a first-time director feel very comfortable. Yeah, which I think takes a lot to do, because, I've been on sets for 23 years, but, when you have an actress of the caliber of Megan Fox or Emile Hirsch or whoever, they make me feel comfortable, which I think allows me to be as creative as I can be without feeling judged. And I think that they feel they can be open and vulnerable in the process. So she was great and really focused, just, really well prepared, more prepared than a lot of actors. So it was great.
Did you guys bond over your kids? Because you have kids that are similar age, right?
Yeah. We talked, it was crazy because in the middle of the movie, a lot of us have kids, Emile and all, a lot of us have kids. And we were what happened was the school shut down in the middle of this process. So you see, I remember coming in and saying, oh my God, both my kids' schools are shut down. And she said, ours too. And it became this like kind of freaking out, like, what is going, are we safe? And what are you doing with your kids? And they're getting quarantined. And I told her what I'm doing with, but, so there definitely were conversations about the kids and school and how are we going to do schoolwork, so there were definitely a lot of conversations like that, again, we didn't realize, you got to remember, we didn't realize the magnitude. We're like, okay, they're taking the precautions. I feel good. Like, I'm glad. Like that makes that. I think we were like more relieved that they were shutting schools down, but we didn't realize what we're about to face, fast forward 2 months later. So, yeah.
Well, I'm anxious for you to get back out there and make this movie.
Yes.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. I really appreciate it. Good luck wedding planning and baby making.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
I appreciate it.